Greetings, all of you, in the name of Jesus Christ, the great Savior of the universe, my God, my Savior. I'm going to be bringing to you with a special presentation on natural solution to show you how to build your immune system up against most all diseases you might find. I think it to be so. This is according to my word, not necessarily established by the FDA, but some of those things are. And what I was.
And of course, I've been looking for a long time for some stuff to support what I've been saying for over a year to deal with this COVID thing. Right now, they don't have the statistics for today for the USA, but for yesterday, we had 22 million infections in the United States of COVID-19, the pandemic. We had 375,000 dead as of yesterday. Okay, we don't know what it is as of today, but that's pretty bad. And of course, the records show very clearly, and the Johns Hopkins came up with this a year ago, and this is what set me off in this direction. They looked at per 100,000 people with infections, 12 individuals in Asian countries, Japan and Taiwan and South Korea, would get the infection. 12 out of 100,000 in Asia. In Italy, in the UK, Spain, and Belgium, the Central Europe kind of thing, you got 349 infections per 100,000. Okay? And so I said, okay, well, it's got to be the diet because, the Asians live on rice and people from Central Europe live on wheat, so that's a gluten thing. And everybody was screaming at me, well, that can't be right, that can't be right. And so, the numbers came out. And this was out, 6 months ago, and I've been repeating it. It says per 100,000, these are deaths per 100,000, okay. The indigenous state of Americans is 133, okay, 133, they have the worst hit. And we're talking about the Alaskan Inuits and Eskimos as well as the Native American Indian tribes. The blacks are 123, Polynesians are 90, Latinos, non-Mexican Latino, they're 86, whites are 75, and the Asian Americans are 54. These are deaths per 100,000, okay? And so that kind of still goes along with the people who are eating gluten-free foods, rice and sweet potatoes did better than people who ate wheat, barley, rye, and oats. And then you compare Hong Kong and Arizona, both have like 7.5 million people population. Hong Kong has 9,000 infections and 157 dead. Arizona has 607,000 infections and 10,000 dead. Well, there's a problem. Let's look at the UK and Thailand. Both of them have 67 million people. UK has 3 million infections and 81,000 dead. Thailand has 10,000 infections and 67 dead. I'll give you one more. Florida and Taiwan, 22 million people each. Florida has 1.5 million infections and 23,000 dead. Taiwan has 800 infections and 7 dead. The people who are eating rice and sweet potatoes have an extremely low rate of deaths and infections compared to people who eat wheat, barley, rye, and oats. And I've been looking for that when it comes to, the Native Americans, since they have the highest rate of infections and deaths in North America, it's kind of crazy. So what's going on there? Well, I finally found it. There's one little Indian tribe. Okay, and it's called the Fond Du Lac Band, okay, of the Chippewa or the Ojibwe Indians in northern Minnesota. They have 3.5% positive infections, per test, 3.5% positive tests, and all the other Native Americans have over, 8 to 12% positive tests. So why are these Indians from the Fond Du Lac Band in upper Minnesota, from the Ojibwe tribe, why do they have such a low rate of infections and no deaths? No deaths, 3.5% infections per 100,000, but no deaths. Well, it turns out that all the other Native Americans, live on wheat products. Okay, they have a flatbread, which they have. It's a universal flatbread, okay, and it's called Baraka, okay, Baraka, I think it's called Baraka, okay, Yeah, Baraka, there you go, Baraka. Or Bannock, no, excuse me, Bannock, there it is, Bannock. Bannock, Bannock, okay? That's this flatbread that all these Native American Indians, and it's made from wheat and barley. Wheat and barley. Well, these Ojibwe Indians, okay, from the Fond Du Lac Band, they live on Manuman. They don't live on Bannock like all the other Indian tribes. They live on Manuman. Well, Manuman turns out to be a wild rice grown in the lakes up there in northern Minnesota, no gluten, and they have 3.5% infections, positive infections for their tests, but no deaths, compared to 8.5% positive infections in the various Indian bands around the United States, and they rank number one when it comes to deaths, 133, depending on whose numbers you look at, 133 to 168 deaths per 100,000. Okay? And so, it's definitely the diet. If everybody were to get off of wheat, brown rhinos, live on corn and rice and sweet potatoes, like the Asians and the Ojibwe Indians in northern Minnesota, and take the 90 essential nutrients, get your immune system going, you are going to do very well, okay? You'll be a survivor. If you continue to eat wheat, barley, rye, and oats and don't supplement, you're going to be one of these people who say, well, God, why am I here? I took the vaccination. How come I died? Okay? And I just am breathless here because, of course, Doug will be posting this episode of Dead Doctors Don't Lie, as he usually does. So you need to get this and get it to your local newspapers, your local radio stations, because I've figured out and have the proof now, unimpeachable proof, that the gluten issues is causing so much trouble in peoples who are not Asian, okay, and also gluten issues in our indigenous populations who live on everything, you know, like this bannock, this flatbread, and the one tribe that lives on Manuman, okay, Manuman, which is a rice, wild rice, they have the lowest rate of infections and no deaths. All these people get...
Right. I hope that's enlightening. That's the hardest thing to deal with when it comes to the diet, dealing with the nutrition. It's easier to believe that we can just take, you know, the 90 for life and, you know, I'm going to do what I want when it comes to the diet. And we've been saying this for years, that it's the gluten that is causing all the deaths. So just think about it. When people first heard about this message about being gluten-free, not just getting Tangy Tangerine and the OsteoFX and the EFAs and all the different products that we have and all the different illnesses that we're able to reverse, but there are a lot of people that have left here unnecessarily and they heard the message about being gluten-free. So being gluten-free, this is the reason why children didn't really get affected by the coronavirus. The reason why is because the white blood cells and the antibodies that get produced in the bone marrow are basically hindered when you eat gluten. So what happens is the children haven't had a lifetime of eating gluten, so when the coronavirus came against them, it would be like just a small little sniffle, a small little cold, and they sometimes didn't even know they had it because their bone marrow, the first response, just canceled out the coronavirus. That this genetically modified China virus, I'm gonna go ahead and say it, is perfectly designed for gluten eaters. Well, that's the best virus to take people out all over the world because people don't want to give up gluten. Okay, so I hope we're going to get into gluten a little bit deeper, but I just wanted to share that information with everyone. All right. The U.S. Senate document number 264, written in 1936, says that our farm soils have been depleted of the vital nutrients that we need. The U.S. Department of Agriculture 100-year study from 1914 to 2014, according to the Nutritional Security Institute, The U.S. soil is eroding 10 times faster than it can be replenished. And I'm going to talk about why it's eroding like that. It's not just no reason for it. It's stuff that we're doing that's not wise, but it's greed, the error and the greed of man. Okay, researchers who compiled reports from around the world concluded that the U.S. agricultural soil has been depleted of 85% of its minerals and vitamins during the last 100 years. So when you say my great-grandmother, my grandmother didn't have to take medicine, didn't go to the hospital, well, they had 85% more nutrition than you. So what we're trying to do is imitate grandma and great-grandma without getting, but we're only getting 15% of the nutrition that they got. They could have been hellions and not living for God, but they had better nutrition. What do you think is going to happen? Well, a church person with getting 15% nutrition is going to die, and the one that's not living right that gets more nutrition is going to live longer. They're just in trouble later on. Okay. What does this mean? This means that you can't eat good. If you ask the average person, how do you eat? Most people say, I eat good. Well, we can no longer just quote unquote eat good anymore and get all the nutrients we need from food alone. Humans need 90 nutrients to stay healthy every day. If you're missing any one of these 90 nutrients, there's up to 10 different deficiency diseases that you and I can acquire by missing just one of these nutrients. And missing one of those 90 nutrients, most of us are getting 30, 40 nutrients. And then we're wondering why we're suffering and why we got to go to the pharmacy and deal with this or that at the pharmacy. That's the reason why. This is why we suffer, my favorite word, needlessly or unnecessary suffering from 900 different health challenges. We need to use the knowledge that is available for us today. We need 60 minerals, 16 vitamins, 12 essential amino acids, and 3 fatty acids, not once a day, but twice a day, just like we have to eat more than once. The body can't absorb everything that you need in one setting. You need to break it up in that day. So that's why we take it for breakfast and dinner, and if you want a little bit in lunch, you can do that too. This is how the body can super nutrify. And one may settle in Arizona and eat like a lot of European style, like the more gluten. I can't think of the name of the tribe that's in Arizona. Come on, somebody help me. Okay, and then you have another a people group that live up in Minnesota, and they're eating rice out the lake, and then they have no dead, and maybe 25 infections, out of 100,000. And the other ones have hundreds and thousands dead, eating different. And so this is how we know. I heard Dr. Wallach talk about on his radio show that he did Nigerians, that some that were living in New York and some that were in Africa, and he noticed that in New York they had like a 30% out of the numbers that they surveyed, 30% high blood pressure. But then they went to Nigeria and they had less high blood pressure, and they said, wait a minute, genetics don't change when you change locations. And so what were the Nigerians in Africa doing? Well, they were still putting wood ashes in their gardens, and they were using the wood ashes, which are minerals. I'm going to talk about that. And so their blood pressure was low because they were getting more calcium. Okay. But Dr. Wallach has over 45 years of biomedical research. He's a veterinarian, a naturopathic doctor, a farmer, a scientist, and more. He's done above 26,000 autopsies on 450 species of animals, 8,000 human autopsies, figuring out what caused the death, what nutritional deficiency. And he's done 10 million blood chemistries and histopathologies. Dr. Wallach has sued the FDA 9 times and won to make these medical health claims. That's why when you see omega-3, 6, and 9 advertised on TV with fish oil, that's because of us, but we don't get the credit. You see selenium in baby food and stuff like that because he's the one that found out it's not the mother rolling over on the child causing sudden infant death syndrome. It was actually that the babies were having cardiomyopathy heart attacks. And some people are in jail to this day falsely because they were accused of killing their child. But he found out it was selenium deficiency in the mother, which got transferred to the baby. And the baby would have like that, how the athletes would run and exercise and have like, they would drop dead. Well, sometimes that would happen to babies because there wasn't enough selenium in them, and they would have sudden infant death syndrome. So what happened was he found out in China when he did the autopsies on the children that he knew that it was called Keyshawn syndrome or something like that. But anyway, he found. All right, years ago, Dr. Wallach was hired as a veterinarian for Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom. They had a grant from the United States government to go around to certain zoos all across the United States to discover why animals die when it comes to natural causes. Now, the first thing that happened was they thought it was because of pollution. Back in the 70s, everyone was concerned about pollution. But later on, when they found out, unless it was intense pollution, then normal pollution had no effect on the life cycle of the animals. But he said, wait a minute, as he did autopsies, he found out it was nutritional deficiencies, and that's what set him on the course to discover. So he found out when an animal dies of natural causes, they're really dying of a nutritional deficiency. So now these are facts to consider. Many of the diseases that people suffer with today were cured or prevented in animals. That's my favorite line right there. Many of the diseases that people suffer with today, including the coronavirus, were cured and prevented in animals. Why? Because now even animals, they say have gluten-free food. Because Dr. Wallach said, why are we giving all these animals all this nutrition, but we don't get the same thing? Because they would give the animals little pellets. It's not cost effective for the farmers to put nutrition in all the field. It costs more money. So what they do is they just grow everything with nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, NPK, 3 nutrients, and then they give the cows and the lambs and the different sheep those animal pellets. And those animal pellets are packed with nutrients, with all the nutrients that species needs. But when it comes to us, the reason why they don't do it because animals don't have insurance. And so if animals had insurance and had to go through drugs and surgery, 1 egg would be $10.
Wow.
So, and as many eggs as I want to eat for breakfast, I couldn't afford it. I couldn't afford eggs. So when we use the word cured when it comes to, we can use the word cured when it comes to animals, but not with people because of the government, right? Is that fair? No. Well, you see, Dr. Wallach learned that he could prevent and cure most diseases in animals with simple nutritional formulas, and an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Ask anyone in the hospital. Okay, here we see Dr. Wallach. We see him going around and driving around in Africa. And see, first of all, he learned about a veterinarian for 30 years. He worked as a research veterinary pathologist in the National Institute for Health for the Center of Biology of Natural Systems, Washington University at St. Louis, Missouri, and Yerkes Regional Primate Research Center in Atlanta, Georgia at Emory University, having discovered and identified the first models for cystic fibrosis in monkeys. That's very special. When he discovered the first cystic fibrosis in monkeys, what happened was the hospital that he worked for had a grant saying it only happened in people. So when he found out about that, they said, you gotta be kidding, it's impossible. So they didn't want to mess with the money. And so that thesis, they didn't want to hear it. He didn't get a chance to defend anything, they fired him. I'm gonna get to that, but he reproduced their condition at will, cystic fibrosis, and was able to turn it on and turn it off to prove that he had discovered it, okay? He found, his offer offered great promise for children with this disease, but when he made it public, the Institute fired him on a 24-hour notice. And then when he went to another place to work, so it was hard, And then what happened later on, the same thing, Jerry Lewis was dealing with muscular dystrophy for years. And what happened was Dr. Wallach found out the cure for muscular dystrophy. And he said, well, I'm going to take all these videos and all these papers and give them to Jerry Lewis instead of taking them to the telethon, the muscular dystrophy telethon people. I'm going to take them to Jerry Lewis and let him introduce, because he had video of children that had been in wheelchairs for years, getting up out of the chairs, playing ball, running, playing, jumping, doing all the stuff, and they raised millions of dollars. So when Jerry Lewis took his information to the Muscular Dystrophy Association, they fired him. And they put him on, they said, basically, we'll sue you for everything that you have if you share this information. For like 5 years, he couldn't say nothing. They sent him on a cruise and said, well, this is our incentive to you, but do not share this. So he was bitter. Jerry Lewis was very upset. But this is what happened. Everyone wonders why the muscular dystrophy telethon disappeared, just for no reason. Because Jerry Lewis wasn't there. And it was tension. And see, the family of Jerry Lewis said, well, we're not under a gag order. And so they were getting ready to come out with their information. So they just took their millions and just vanished into the sunset. Because they didn't want the cure. Because the cure represented no more telethons, no more millions. So you have to understand these things. If you don't, you're going to be a victim. How did we get here? How do we get to this place where our health is getting worse with the highest technology in medicine and pharmaceuticals? Because of technology. For hundreds of years, even the Bible says we'll be weaker and wiser. We smart, but we can't lift that wheelbarrow. You know what I'm saying? The children, they go out and flex, but they won't cut the grass. It'd be grandma and mama, and the daughter pushing the lawnmower while the son's playing video games. I see the scriptures coming to pass. Anyway, the reason is because of technology. For hundreds of years, the common fuel was wood all over the earth, and 3% is carbon. And you see little black chunks, that's like where the coal is and all that. That's how we stayed healthy. The trees and plants would suck up the minerals out of the ground, and just think how tall the trees are, how wide the root spread is, and you're getting trees from different places, and you're getting minerals from different places. The plants would only need 3 elements to survive. Organically grown food does not mean it has more nutrition in them. Organically grown food just means it's not enough. It's not as much Raid and Roundup on it. And Raid and Roundup is not a certain way to what? Replenish the land, and also to replenish the oceans. But when you cut off the natural flow, you cut off the natural flow of minerals from the mountains and from the seas coming into the land. This is why our land, the first slide that I showed is being depleted because we're not burning wood anymore, and then there's no more flooding like it used to be. And so we also stopped the circulation of our natural living water. According to Google, there are 84,000 hydroelectric dams in the United States alone. According to Dr. Wallach, there are 1 million hydroelectric plants in the world that are damming up all the rivers and streams in the world. It used to be that the most expensive and the most fertile farmlands were floodplains, bottomlands, and river bottoms, which would flood every spring, and as snow and ice would melt, along with erosion that would bring down minerals and soot from the mountains into the farms, and the farmers would plow this soot in every year to renew their soil. With these 1 million dams and hydroelectric plants to generate electricity, they cut off the food supply to these floodplains. And here we are suffering. And like we said, Grandma didn't have to go to the doctor. Well, the reason why, she had all that stuff flowing into the land and could use it. The soot from these floods are no longer occurring. This soot now is just being stacked up behind the dams. And I've looked at video on YouTube where you see a bunch of gunk floating behind the dam a lot of times. Well, guess what they do? They sell the gunk to certain farmers, but they used to get it for free. Now, wait a minute. I remember I never paid for bottled water until they started. I'm like, how am I going to pay $1 or 50 cents back in the day? But now it's $1 for bottled water. I said, I'm just going to get a cup and get some water. I'm not going to pay. See, but they selling the free stuff, that helps us. So also by damming up all these rivers, we cut off the food supply to the oceans. So people are wondering why the sharks and the animals are acting a certain way, maybe more aggressive, more attacks, because it's a chain effect. If the little teeny weeny animals don't grow, so the little fish can eat them, and then the bigger fish can eat them, and then of course when you get to the bigger fish, then they're gonna look at the human swimmers and they can't get out the way now. So that's kind of what happens. So now we're seeing a significant number of fish being raised in fish farm ponds, and I'm gonna tell you they're not as good. They're not as good. Why? Because the person in charge of the fish farm pond chooses what that fish eats, but God chooses what the fish eats when it's natural.
Right.
Okay, and it's going to have a plethora of nutrition to choose from. So they don't have the same nutrition in them as wild fish because they're being raised and fed grain pellets instead of eating the wild items they would naturally have eaten in the ocean, seas, bays, and so forth. So the nutrients that used to be in our food and wisdom and knowledge too. I look at Proverbs and Mark 11, 23. Bishop, I think it's 22 through 24, something like that. You gotta have faith, but we also gotta peep in Proverbs and not be dumb.
Amen.
Okay. Okay, so this is why I played the first clip talking about being gluten-free. If you want to kill your immune system, if you want to make yourself, you could take the whole bottle of Flintstones vitamins and you still going to get the coronavirus. Why? Because your bone marrow is going to say, I ain't got nothing to work with. I ain't got no strength. So I can't send out the immune response like that kid, like that 5 to 10-year-old kid. You got a big muscle-bound men dying and passing out, leaving here with coronavirus, and you got little itty-bitty weak children because their immune system's stronger, not their muscles, but their immune system. This is why we're stubborn, though, because we've been culturally conditioned to say, I'm going to eat this. I don't care what nobody says. Yeah. It's kind of like, someone coming to church. I'm going to keep doing my thing. I like you preaching. I love your sermon, but I still going to get my groove on. And then what happens? They come later saying, pray for me.
Amen.
I done got in this mess again. Well, the same thing. See, natural and spiritual principles run together. So your immune system at its optimal operating level, you have to get the little itty bitty 15% of that nutrition into your blood. So from your stomach, it goes to your small intestine. From the small intestine is where it goes into the blood. Okay. But this is what happens when we eat wheat, barley, rye, and oats. We get in trouble. Now, people are looking at, see, that's old Charlie muffins right there. Someone's getting mad right there. That's Archway oatmeal raisins. Someone's upset. Oh, Lord. Quaker oatmeal. Gonna have me singing. Okay, this is what happens to your body. This is why the coronavirus and deals with adults. This is the adults' villi, small intestine, because they had a lifetime of eating gluten. Now this is the child's intestinal villi, because they haven't had a lifetime of eating gluten. So when the coronavirus says, I can't do nothing with this one because they get nutrition into their blood. Let me get the adult. You see, and that's why all these people that are eating European and not Asian are passing away. You got the Ojibwe Indians in Minnesota, no dead. Now that was in March when we played it. But I'm talking about the whole nation dropping, and they're not getting infected and not getting dead. And I don't know how much supplementation, but evidently the lakes they're eating out of, because they're getting the rice out of the Great Lake up there. Well, it's got minerals in it. So they're getting minerals and eating gluten-free. See, so this is what the different pictures of the intestine looks like. And so when you eat wheat, barley, rye, and oats, and anything that contains, you can't just say, well, I don't eat much bread. Well, that's like saying I'm only going to use one poison ivy leaf and rub it on myself. Well, one leaf will do it, won't it? You can get your whole body just miserable, can't you? Okay, so this is what happens. And then these amino acids can't break apart. The amino acids, like when you eat and your stomach begins to break them apart with the acid, like battery acid, your stomach, but because of the wheat, barley, rye, and oats, your stomach can't break them apart. So they go through this villi and they destroy your microvilli and the villi. and then the undigested gluten particles go through, and then that's where you develop food allergies as well. So a lot of people say I have food allergies and more digestive problems. This is real good. Now these are some of the side effects of gluten. See, someone's mad right now. Their job just brought a platter in. Oh Lord. But we have to stop it. And if you cook, you gotta learn to cook gluten-free. Oh, even the peach cobblers and all the different things. And we can do this because Bob's Red Mill has flour, and King Arthur has gluten-free flour, and now it's in Walmart, Big Lots, Myers. There's gluten-free sections. And you can make pizzas and all the different, all the products that we eat can be made gluten-free and healthy, and they can be tasty. And I got a video that I text out to everyone that joins with us so that you'll know where to shop and what to buy. I put together a video of maybe about 50 to 100 products that taste the best. You don't have to guess. You don't have to go to like Whole Food places and pay $7 for a loaf of bread. You can go to these places and get them for $3, and the bread tastes just like regular bread. Okay, but if you have celiac disease, irritable bowel, Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis, malabsorption of vitamins, which is a precursor to other diseases like lactose intolerance, I was given that. We get that in our mother's womb the first 90 days of pregnancy because the mom can't absorb nutrients, the baby doesn't absorb nutrients. That's where we get birth defects, okay? And sickle cell anemia, that's why I was born with sickle cell anemia, but I take care of myself. This is my motivation for doing this because unnecessary crises, unnecessary pain, unnecessary nausea and wooziness and weakness, you don't have to have it. You can supplement, be gluten-free, get that nutrition into the blood, and the cells will, if you have sickle cell anemia or a disease where you can't get rid of it because you were born like that, God would have to do a miracle, but your cells can go back to normal for that day. Well, day by day, one day at a time, sweet Jesus.
Amen.
So I'm going to put the selenium and the 90 nutrients and be gluten-free day by day so that I don't have to be grabbing the fence post in pain, you know, going through a crisis, talking and calling the pastor, telling him to pray for me. He said, you must have ate some gluten again. Yeah, I'm in the hospital. I'm in the ER. But, you know, you're not taking your vitamin. You're doing what you living like us, aren't you? Yes. See, but if you have skin rashes, migraine headaches. Now, this is what I say for people. Just go gluten-free for 3 weeks to a month. You will have migraine headaches. You will have vomiting. You will have everything. You will think you're dying if you go absolutely drop dead gluten-free for 30 days. When you do that, your body's going to treat you like the enemy when you eat some gluten. And then you will know how bad it's treating your body every day. But until you do that, you don't know. And this is why people are feeling tired and all that. Chronic pain, fibromyalgia, gallbladder stones are caused by eating gluten. Yes, people get their gallbladder taken out for nothing because they don't know. And this lowers, by the way, the topic is building the immune system. If you eat this, you're going to sabotage your immune system. Who wants to sabotage their immune system and be next to someone with the coronavirus? Me? No. I don't want to do that. Okay, these are more side effects of eating gluten. And I don't even want to be around someone like a fast food restaurant over the grill. I don't want to be even downwind from someone making biscuits because you're still breathing it in. Because look how fine the powder is. Just kind of like when you see the shade open up and light comes in the window and you see all those particles. Okay, well, powder is that fine.
Yeah, that's right.
So when someone's fixing those homemade biscuits instead of using rice flour, if they're using wheat, then you're still getting it in. Okay, so asthma and COPD, according to a naturopathic way, is the same disease. Asthma is just chronic. COPD is just chronic asthma that's gone too long and it's out of control. But guess what causes it? It's a lack of a few nutrients, omega-3, 6, and 9, and a couple of minerals. But what causes it is gluten. So anyone with asthma, my daughter used to have asthma, she doesn't have it anymore. Why? Because she doesn't eat gluten when we're watching her. Okay. If you have bronchitis, why? Because you're eating gluten. If you have allergies, why? Because your mother ate gluten and passed it on to you, and when you eat gluten, you're going to react worse than your mom. Okay, so the mother passes it on through her core blood. Okay, the gluten intolerance. Muscle coordination issues. Why do you have muscle coordination issues? Because the muscles need magnesium and calcium, and those are minerals, and you can't absorb those minerals because of the gluten. Diverticulitis, leaky gut. Why go get your stomach cut out? Stop eating gluten. You have gas and bloating and diarrhea and constipation. Why be ashamed? Just stop eating gluten. Vomiting, like I said, abdominal pain, stomach cramps, irritable bowel syndrome, intestinal polyps, weight gain. Why weight gain? Because it's like a beer belly. Your body can't absorb the nutrients, and so your body can absorb the fats and stuff. And so what happens is your body's saying, I can't get it. It passes through you, and your body's saying, I'm starving. And so you eat more, and then that gluten affects that belly and also affects our weight. Dermatitis, rosacea. Why are you rubbing on all that stuff they come out with on these commercials when you can stop eating gluten? They got tablets and stuff. I look at the commercials and the side effects, I run out of fingers. They said if one of the side effects is death, almost on every one of them, cancer, but you take our pill and your skin will be clear. No, I'm gonna stop eating gluten. Okay, psoriasis, brain fog, and why depression? Because after all this, you're gonna be depressed. Why that cuts down on my soul? I went and ate some honey buns. Okay, so going gluten-free must be 100%. Cutting back on gluten is not good enough. This is the same as saying I'm going to cut back on eating poison. So I'm just going to eat a little bit of strychnine. I'm not going to eat much. I'm just going to eat a little bit. Well, it only takes 3% to kill a rat and 97% rat poison, right? It's the good ingredients. And so that's what people do. They think, well, I'm just going to, did we hear that earlier? We said, I just eat a little gluten. But that little gluten undermines. It's kind of like this. If you're running water into a tub, if you take the plunger out, that little plunger prevents the tub from filling up. We want our nutritional tank, filled all the way up. So that when these viruses come, and they're coming, then we'll be ready. Also, oils versus butter deception. Dr. Ansel Keys brokered a deal in 1952 between Procter & Gamble and the American Heart Association. Remember Procter & Gamble? They really care about you, don't they? I saw them on Phil Donahue's show years ago. I ain't gonna talk about it, but just find them on YouTube. You'll see what I'm talking about. They don't care nothing about you. Procter & Gamble, through Dr. Ansel Keys' deception, gave the American Heart Association $1.7 million to endorse. That's a bribe, ain't it? To endorse Crisco as a healthier way to eat versus butter, lard, cream, lard, and eggs. Now, that may not seem like a lot of money today, but you go back to 1952, okay, when the endorsement of the American Heart Association that they were bribed to do was not enough to increase the sale of Crisco, Dr. Ansel Keys came up with the Mediterranean diet to continue the deception. Recently, it came out to light after Dr. Keys' death. Papers were found. People always keep papers, don't they? Yeah. After they die, they can't guard them no more. The housekeeper was like, what's this? I'm going to share this. So she found the papers, and basically, he was withholding truthful information from the public, and actually the opposite was true. Okay? Instead of this being bad, this was bad. But they marketed it as this being good and this bad. That's kind of like a demonic principle, ain't it?
Yes.
Well, look at Procter & Gamble. Okay, so butter, cream, and lard and eggs are good for you, and cooking oils are bad for you, even deadly. And millions of people have succumbed to illness and death because of believing we need to switch over. Just like people believing gluten is good, and so all the world is eating gluten, and some scientists in Wuhan figured out what virus to genetically modify from a bat to make it worse. He said, well, wait a minute, everybody eats gluten and they will not give it up. Let's design it that way. Let's design it that way. That way, no one will ever stop. Okay, this is the reason why oils are bad. Oils, and even extra virgin olive oil, avoid oils in a bottle because exposure to the air causes it to oxidize. So this air right here is causing it to oxidize while it's sitting in the bottle, and it causes free radical damage, okay? And inflammation. Not the butter, cream, lard, and eggs. It's actually the oils in a bottle. Salad dressing as well. So you can use vinegar, salt, and pepper, and lemon juice on your salads. And so Like I said, see, people know a lot, but they don't know a lot yet. You know, they say, I know what I'm gonna take these vitamins that you're talking about, but I'm gonna still eat the way I want to eat. But guess what you're doing? You're undermining the immune system. The title is building the immune system. Why would you hire a construction worker to build you a house, and every day that he goes, he breaks something while he's building it? Why would you build your immune system and then blow it up? every day you're trying to help it. Now, the era of man. Also, genetically modified soy is bad, bad, bad. You can see some of the duplicate things that gluten causes, but food allergies, but also soy. So when they tell you soy, this child is like, wow, this is the only thing I can eat. Mommy, I would rather be breastfed. He's like, help me. But I have no choice. I'm a little child. I can't talk. And so all of this stuff, I remember I was eating soy before I knew about all this nutritional stuff. And I used to eat this soy bacon back in the 90s. And eventually my body rejected it. And it was almost like eating poison. It would make my back so sore, my skin, that if my shirt touched me, it would hurt. And I would have to, I'll stop eating it and it would go away. That's why they're putting soy in everything, because they want girl men. I said, that's Facebook Live, ain't it? Oh, well, I don't care. I'm telling the truth today. Asthma. Now, if you're eating gluten and you call giving yourself asthma, and you're getting soy and you're causing yourself asthma, I can't breathe. And it's also, it creates man boobs. Who wants that? You're trying to go to the weight room and look manly and lift weights and look muscular. And thyroid issues. Who wants thyroid issues? Nobody. So you see all these particular, it's scary. This is scary. Okay, so when you join with us, you get a good and bad food list. I text this out, but since it's on Facebook now, you can see it. But now, people look at this and say, is this all I can eat? No, this is just an idea of the good foods. You can eat a lot more foods in this, kind of like atoms. Just don't go to the one tree. No, but there's all the other trees are yours. But now, the bad food list, one of the things that's missing from here, because I ran out of space, apple juice. You never want to drink apple juice. Ever. Because that's why the children are having all the problems. Because apples, when you see the apple's brown juice, right? But what color is an apple when you bite it? It's normally like white. But when you leave it on the table for so long, what color does it turns brown? What color is the juice? 2 + 2 is what? 4. So you're drinking brown, oxidized apple juice because the oil in the apple exposed to oxygen oxidizes it. So the same apple that you see on the ground is brown is the same juice you're drinking. Is that good for you? No, but while we taught that it's good for us. Yes. And so this is why we're doing the presentation. Avoid apple juice as well as wheat, barley, rhinos, fried foods, oil in a bottle, including salad dressing. Myers and Big Lots, and you can get these things at all these different places, nitrate and nitrite-free, gluten-free meats and stuff like that. The skin of a baked potato you don't want to eat as well. It causes inflammation, acrylamide, and different things like that, which is carcinogenic and cancerous as well. You can boil the skin of a baked potato and eat it. And also carbonated sodas with a meal. You don't want to drink anything alkaline as well. Alkaline water is a lie. The stomach is supposed to be like battery acid. If you swallow the bone, your stomach would break it up. Okay, it's like battery acid. But when you drink alkaline water or soda or elevator, nothing. Think of that Kentucky Kingdom. It don't matter. Yes. Okay. Well, chemotherapy is 97% ineffective according to their own 14-year study with a 3% margin of error. The Journal of Clinical Oncology. I can give you the page and volume numbers, everything. Okay, I just didn't have space on this little slide here. But if anyone says, I don't believe it, I can give you the page and volume numbers. What I'm talking about, any establishment that doesn't like what you're saying, I'm gonna be careful when I say this. You're either a supremacist. Now, I wouldn't be that. I'm African American. or it's misinformation. Anything they don't agree with or like, you're a supremacist or it's misinformation. It wasn't like that before, but now in the last 4 to 5 years during the transition of the presidency, they've been deplatforming a lot of this information. And so we're in a republic by establishing of the Constitution, but we're more socialist than ever. Like today, will reduce the occurrence. Okay, it's not just, any old saying. That powerful word here, the occurrence of these cancers. This will stop the occurrence of these cancers by that study. Breast cancer, 82%, just 2 tablets a day. Prostate cancer, 69%. Colorectal cancer, 64%. Well, why not take 4 tablets? Why not take 8? Okay, lung cancer by 39%. And most people that get lung cancer don't even smoke. Okay? This information on selenium was published in 1998, but you haven't heard about it. Why? Because it's not profitable. In the Journal of American Medical Association, JAMA, it was a regular doctor that did this. Okay? And one of our products that have selenium in it, as well as other antioxidants, Clemson study did an independent study on tangy tangerine. When cancer cells were exposed to beyond tangy tangerine, there was a 60% reduction in colon cancer cells, 65% in liver and stomach cells. But I like this one, 30% reduction in cancerous breast cells. Well, if you add this together, that's above 100%, right? And you reduce it to 100%, then you're doing a lot. Anniversary, I can't even pronounce it, Kasuka. I can't even pronounce that word, if anybody could help me. But this university did a study on the ingredients of it, because a lot of Japanese eat fucoidan. They eat it anyway because it's around that particular area. They eat it. All right, but this university, what they found was, because it's all technical. I included all the technical stuff because I'm like, some people are going to want to look up and all the technical PubMed.gov and all that, and they want to see all the different aspects of the study. But I'll just break it down. Just this product alone, building the immune system, dealing with the coronavirus. Simply put, the fucoidan will not allow the spike protein to enter the human cell by binding to it ACE2, therefore preventing you from contracting COVID. When you just take this alone, get off the gluten, take this alone, it will not allow the coronavirus, COVID-19 virus to stick to your cell and infect you. I'm like, my wife always had a bottle in the refrigerator. Hands off. Hands off. She'd be like, hands off. I was sneaking in and getting a little bit. And you're like, why is it going down mask? It's effective 10% against the coronavirus. Okay, now when we rode up here, there's chain link fences all around the property. You see the chain link fences? Basically, I hate to bust everyone's bubble, but the chain link fence it's like if you were trying to keep mosquitoes out from crossing over the chain link fence. The chain link fence may prevent 10% of the mosquitoes because they may see the little wire and say, I don't want to go that way. But the rest of them, and you breathing heavy and it's summertime, you getting bit, right? If you put 3 chain link fences together, you still getting bit, right? Because they're going to say, that's nothing. I'll just go through that. Okay, so that's what we need to understand. So we have to build our immune system. So that's like everyone's wearing a mask, right? And they're sitting at a Thanksgiving table or Christmas dinner, and someone got the cold, right? Or they just have a cold or flu. That mask that everyone's wearing is 10% effective. What does that mean? Everybody's going to get it. But so I would rather build the immune system and to deal with the spike protein of the coronavirus is provoking an immune system. Well, children have a better immune system, so while they have these side effects and different things, the heart and different things that they're having, because their immune system is like reacting hard. An older person's immune system, normally with a bunch of gluten, low nutrition, wear and tear, it doesn't provoke the immune system as hard because our immune system typically is not as good. Now mine is,
You know, when me and my wife contracted, you know, it was like, what is this? It was gone. It was gone. I was out throwing the frisbee with my daughter sick with the coronavirus and couldn't taste nothing but jumping and running, like, okay, because we were doing all the right stuff. Didn't know. I'm like, okay, well, I'm supposed to sit down, but I don't feel like I need to because I'm bored. I'm going outside and playing with, you know. But this is why. Get this in, if you don't get anything else, we can save a lot of lives. We can save a lot of lives being gluten-free and getting these products. So there's different ways to get them. Okay, everyone knows, I'm in a friendly room, everyone knows about the different ways. With the rebound, you just need the essential fatty acids, and then you have all 90 nutrients. That's 100 nutrients, but you still need the essential fatty acids. All right, and as I close, any questions? Any questions anyone would have?
What product could you get to get everything in one take?
Well, that's pretty easy. Let me go back over here.
Thank you.
Basically, we have 26 ways of getting the 90 nutrients. So it really depends on taste. It depends on affordability. You know, we have the Healthy Start Pack. I use the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack because I hit it with the heaviest hammer. You know, I get the extra essential fatty acids, selenium, and everything. And then, of course, you have the classic, the Ultimate Classic that has high calcium. I normally start people off with this. It has the most, well, Dr. Wallach was asked the question, if he could take only one, they can afford to do it. And the hardest part is really the diet, not the product, you know. And so here's our website. And, you know, if anyone wants to get this information, you want to get this website, because I'm going to click off of it. I'm going to show the diseases that we suffer from needlessly because we're eating wheat, barley, rye, and oats, and we're not getting our nutrition. But we put oats with gluten because it does the same thing as wheat, barley, and rye. And so some people get smart. Well, the protein name is this. Well, I say, well, if it does the same thing, if it's a bullet, it's a bullet. And if it hits you in the chest, if it's a different name of a bullet, it's a 33, it's a 32, whatever, it still hurt. So oats are really bad.
So oatmeal is not good for you?
Oatmeal is the devil.
What? I had a friend who ate oatmeal every day, and she never had a problem.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. God has mercy.
She lived to be 98.
Here's the thing about it. Someone that's 98, they had better nutrition than we do. You didn't come at the beginning. By 2014, 1914 to 2014, my first slide, it actually showed that, oh yeah, I'm going to go back there because you done challenged me now. You done challenged me, so we got to go back. Hold on.
You got to be ready for the challenges.
Doctor told me to stop eating gluten.
Okay, this is our first slide here. And what happened was, someone 98, they had better nutrition than someone that's born now in the last 10 years. Because according to the Nutritional Institute, our soil is eroding 10 times faster than it can be replenished. All right, and we have 85% of the nutrition that our elders had. 85% less. So we're getting 15% of what this 98-year-old got. And of course it faded, but still, a lot of times people that were older did gardens. They would get the fruit, and sometimes they would have fruit coming up from Florida in the boxes. Now we can't get away with it. So let me get back to that other slide.
So those babies get the calcium that the mother give, get the nutrients, the immune system that the mother had 20 years ago, not
Right.
30.
So it's impossible to get the same immune response eating the same food as our grandmother and great-grandmother. It's impossible. And especially with all this gluten. Yes, sir.
It appears to me that back when I was coming up, what happened was we weren't raised up on no McDonald's. We weren't raised up on that. All our meals mainly, most of them came from home-cooked meals. What's happened to the children now? They starting off at 4 or 5 years old from their own eating McDonald's 2, 3, and 4 times a week. Because mothers are busy, they're doing this and that. So they're mainly raised on fast food.
Right. And that's even worse. But here's the problem. Even the home cooked meals are coming from the farmlands that have first.
People years and years ago were doing their own gardening.
Exactly, but here's the beauty of it.
We didn't use all those chemicals on our food.
Yeah, well, here's the thing about it. The best nutrition that you can garden with is in your own backyard, most likely. But here's the problem. There's not enough, because we can only garden, so especially in these cold states, you know, it's garden growing season over. We ain't in Mississippi. And so, hold on. We're not in Mississippi where you just grow, and eat. And so we still can't get all of our food from the garden by itself. And then you're still, if you miss, when you come at the beginning, I was saying if you miss one of the 90 nutrients, there's 10 different deficiency diseases. So still missing one of those nutrients can still make you sick and kill you. And we're saying supplement, be gluten-free so that you can get maximum result to build the immune system. Yes, out.
Can you tell us why processed food and preservatives are bad?
Well, preservatives can be called because they want the fruit and the meats and different things to look good and last longer, right? And so by spraying a chemical on the food that's genetically modified and does not exist in nature, it's going to, when it enters your body's saying, what do I do with this? This is mess. This is not supposed to be in my body. And so, and you said something else. And processed food. Well, processed food, the process of processing food, a lot of times, the virus comes your way. You won't even, most of the time you won't even get it. And if you get it, it won't even do anything. You'll be like that 5-year-old kid at 55. Huh?
So uncured meat would be good for you?
Uncured meat means no nitrates and nitrites. That means, you know, you can find that at all the popular food places now, Kroger and Walmart. All you have to do is look for it. You're going to, you pay more for it, but you can find it. Yes, sir.
I think one of the problems that a lot of us have is we don't have enough stomach acid for one, because as you get older, you don't seem to have as much stomach acid.
I'm glad you said that. I'm going to tell you the reason why. Guess what? Acid reflux is low stomach acid. Okay? What causes it? Gluten and soda water. Well, first of all, we have enzymes that have the stomach acid in a bottle that you can get. But I'll say most of the time I can fix acid reflux. It was a particular doctor that I deal with. He had acid reflux for 20 years and low stomach acid. And he reads film, and so he said, I'm in trouble. And so what happened was I said, I can fix it. He's like, what are you talking about? He said, I told him what he needs to do. If you go to the better store and get that, and then you put a little bit of, like a Dixie cup worth of water in a cup, right? Just one little capful of apple cider. Take about 2 or 3 capfuls of concentrated lemon, real lemon, put it in the cup. Take a little bit of salt and apple cider vinegar, but that lemon give it a better taste. And you put it in the cup, just salt it to taste. Your acid reflux goes away in minutes. And then we have the enzymes, just in case for that extra fireman fire hose worth of reversing acid reflux. But it's eating gluten and drinking. And see, so everybody's eating gluten, and as they get older, their stomach acid is getting lower, and they're wondering why. That's it. And so you could do it at home. And see, this is why this information is so important. So these are the different illnesses: heart tissue, soft tissue, blood sugar. And so you see this is how we're able to break down what people need. They need the 90 nutrients for everything. They may need special extra for certain things. And then we just treat, your deficiency, we treat your disease. And then the body fixes itself, and then, you share the message.
Now, your sickle cell anemia,
Okay.
is it flaring up as much as it used to, or if it's not, is it because of this product?
Well, definitely because of the product, because my wife might be remarried again, but if I didn't have the product to do what I need to do, because I was getting worse. And now don't smile that hard. Lord have mercy. Hey, maybe I need to change the presentation. Let me edit that out of there. No, but what happened was I noticed in about 2008 or 10, I started getting worse and worse and worse. I found out about this in 2012, the 90 for life. And what happened was I started taking it because, like I said before, you're getting worse and worse. I'm 55 now, and I'm actually better, more healthier now than I was even in 2016.
No crisis.
Well, the crisis will come, but it may last like a day. It may not. It may be like 1/4 or 1/5 of what it would be, where I don't have to go into ER. I don't have to go into the hospital, you know. And so having less pain or no pain, like most of the time, is I'm operating normally. You know, I'm on 0 medication. Everyone in our house, my wife is 51 in January. And she's a grandmother. Look at her.
You're not supposed to tell that, dude.
Come up here. Come up here. You got to get in front of this camera because someone's going to buy the juice just because they saw you.
Just stand right there. Stand right there.
Okay, now try not to squint. Okay. Now, this is my wife here. She's fine. She's 50 years old. She'll be 51 in January 7th. I know, because I gotta take her out. Birthday present right after Christmas is hard. Thank God the payday hits me then too. But anyway, but she's 50, be 51 in January, and she is a grandmother. We got 3 grandchildren, but we're gluten free. We're nitrate and nitrite free for the most part. Except when you get weak and want some ham for Thanksgiving, but other than
Violate a little bit, huh?
Yeah. But she's taking the 90 nutrients, and I'm just saying it makes a difference because when young ladies see her, you know, it's not hard for me to sell. See, I can stand up here, you know, but when they see her, they be like, I want it. I don't care what it is.
I was just thinking, showing her. I was just thinking, just showing her probably did more than your presentation.
That's it. I told you have to come. I said you have to come because Lord have mercy, when they see you, they're gonna buy whatever I got on the screen.
Well, I want some right now.
Okay, well, she'll hook you up. Oh man.
Yeah.
Okay, so what?
Yeah, you're looking good too.
But I gotta tell you the story, and I gotta tell you this. I gotta be careful how I say this, but I had the same doctor for maybe 30 years, you know, and the more I learned, the less I wanted to do what the doctor was saying, because I was taking care of myself. You know, there are times where I would treat myself so well, you know, that I'll find out, what's this medicine? I would ask them, what does it do? Mm-hmm. Okay, and I was 6 red blood cells. When I was in the hospital, it was like 6 something, you know, under crisis because of what they did and wrong and didn't give me what I needed. But they told me years ago, 12 to 14 is normal in a man. Okay. So every day I'm able to normalize my blood with the nutrition, with the selenium and the stuff. Gluten-free though, it's not gonna work eating some, I'm just eating a little, no. If you got sickle cell anemia, any chronic disease that you were born with that's baked into the cake, you gotta be gluten-free, oil-free, nitrated, nitrite-free, soda-free, baked potato, skin-free, apple juice-free, all that. Then you do what I'm doing, then your body will function normally. And so what happened was, I got a certified letter from my doctor, and he kicked me out of the clinic and said, because I won't comply, that's the new word now in 2021, because I won't comply with his instructions, I won't do the stuff that's killing my peers. I won't take the different tests and the different the shots and different everyone wants you to take for the flu and for the bologna corona, whatever. I won't take these things. Then I got a certified letter. You can no longer come to the clinic, and none of the doctors can treat you, and you need to find someone else. Well, what happened was I found someone else because I had to, and I found someone else that I explained up front. Now, it was an interview, and I had to be careful. I know I was talking to a regular allopathic MD. Here's the reason why I need a regular doctor, because I still have. So what happened was I got the doctor that I needed because I told him I'm going to be doing this. He said, well, just see me once a year, or twice a year, and just, but you can do what you're doing because evidently it's working.
Yes.
All my blood chemistry was good. I just found out about that about 2 months ago, but every time I get it, it's improving to where it's like, I still have sickle cell anemia. There's so many people, the hardest people to sell and to get to understand and to believe and do this are people with sickle cell. Every other illness works 100,000 million times better. Sickle cell anemia people normally, being African American, we were taking nutrition during the time when she got pregnant. We were married first now.
Yeah, bring that out.
Oh, Pastor, he's Pastor on the camera, so we have to make sure we touch on those things. But and so they were born without it. But they're saying that's not possible, But it is. This is what happens when a woman is pregnant. The first 90 days, it's like an assembly line. Whatever nutrition or mineral is not there, then that child doesn't get it. So not having selenium can give you sickle cell anemia, muscular dystrophy, or cystic fibrosis, And so a lot of women in Indiana is a low selenium state. In Nigeria, I found out very low selenium in the soil. They're the highest sickle cell on the planet, I think, per capita. And when you look at the soil, there's no selenium. So but when you supplement with it, like I said, your body can normalize. And so that's kind of, but people with sickle cell need to know this. And like I said, they're the hardest to sell because the intensity of the pain, the intensity and the frequency, it's like your life is out of control. But they've tried a million things and nothing works. And then when someone comes to them that is not a doctor, like any other illness, when people are in pain, they normally panic, right? This is why I've been saying for years, learn about being gluten-free in advance. Don't just get the 90 nutrients, but look at the gluten. If you get the 90 nutrients and you're eating gluten and nitrates and nitrites in your meat, cooking oils and salad dressing and the skin of a baked potato and apple juice, you know what you're doing? It's like I'm over in Vietnam somewhere and the enemy's over here and I got a grenade in my hand and I need to throw it this way, but I pull the pin and hold the grenade. What's going to happen?
Yeah, you'll be the
I
target.
may be leading the troop, but I'm holding the grenade. So when you do all those things, in spite of taking the nutrition, you sabotage your health. And so many people have a hard time with the diet. In order to build the immune system, you can't blow it up at the same time you're trying to build it. So any more questions?
What's wrong with apple juice?
Okay, you weren't here when I broke it down. Okay, apple juice is when you bite an apple, what keeps the apple beautiful is the peeling. What happens when you peel the apple or bite into the apple? Why does it turn brown? Okay, no idea. We talked about oxidation.
That's what I was going to say. Okay, go ahead.
When it's exposed to oxygen, that oxygen touches the oil on that apple that's in the apple, and it oxidizes, and it turns to free radical damage. Well, when I look at apple juice, I don't see, no, when I look at an apple, I expect the apple juice to look like the apple when I first slice it. Not the brown when the apple's sitting on the sidewalk. But when I drink apple juice, it's brown. It's super brown, ain't it? It's downtown Freddy brown, ain't it? And it's like, that's what you're drinking. You're drinking that apple that's oxidized, that's causing inflammation and free radical damage. Let's give it to all the children in kindergarten.
So you shouldn't drink, so apples are not good for you?
Apples are great. If they made the apple juice and when they first squeezed it with a machine or whatever, if they poured lemon juice in it when they first did it, it would secure it. But they don't do that.
So, okay, if it didn't turn brown, then what color is it supposed to be?
Well, when I look at an apple, it ain't brown until I leave it and come back and go, oh, I don't want that. I'm going to give me a new apple.
So I'm just thinking like the apple juice, like...
Don't drink it at all. Unless you squeeze it yourself, have your own juicer, and you drink it immediately, then you can do
So
it.
it's okay to put it like in smoothies and
If
stuff
you
like
do it, don't put the apple juice that you buy.
Right,
You
I'm
can do
talking
it.
about like the
Yeah, you
apple-
can make the apples yourself.
even the peelings too?
Yeah, you want to. Well, it's gonna filter the peeling.
Yeah, okay.
Antioxidant.
Yeah. Yeah. So, anymore, this is good though, because even though we're all taking the nutrients, or we have gaps, and falling between these gaps. That's what I have to say it. I'm in church. That's what the devil enters in. He's in the details. See, we missed the small foxes. We said, I'm doing all this. I'm taking the 90, but I'm doing all this bad stuff. Well, the bad stuff is what's going to undermine what you're doing. It's like going to church and not paying your tithes and excuse my French a little bit, but not much, or doing little things.
A little leaven to hold on.
That's it. That's what I was looking for. I knew it was in the scriptures. So a little gluten messes up everything you're doing right.
What?
A little gluten messes up everything you're doing right.
The counteract.
Yeah, it counteracts. It counteracts it at a much higher pace.
You neutralize it.
Okay, so taking the 90 nutrients is like going 30 miles an hour, right? In a car. Who drives 30 miles an hour? Not many people, especially, I see you, honey. But eating the bad diet goes at about 60 or 70. So eventually, that bad diet outpaces the good nutrition that you're taking. So this is what we have to do. We have to say, okay, I done heard all this stuff before. I done heard about the 90 nutrients, but I'm still eating the salad dressing with the oil in the bottle. I'm still, using a little cooking oil. I'm still eating meats with nitrates and nitrites. I'm still, frying the foods instead of in butter or lard. I'm cooking it the way I want. I'm doing all these things. And then what happens is, yes.
You say lard?
Lard is animal fat, animal protein,
That's better
butter.
for you?
Way better. But you came in a little later. You missed a slide where I talked about how that Dr. Ansel Keys, 75% of your brain is 100% saturated fat, cholesterol. Well, let's lower it. Let's lower it. Well, guess what? You cause type 2 diabetes and dementia and Alzheimer's as a physician-caused disease because they're teaching everyone that the butter, creams, and lard and eggs are bad, which replenish your mind and your body and your hormones and give you better testosterone and better estrogen as a woman and progesterone and all the different hormones that you have. And the oil won't give you nothing but inflammation and cancer and clogs your arteries.
What about olive oil? Right.
Olive, extra virgin olive, any oil, any oil, flaxseed oil, olive oil.
It's not good.
Oil from the gas station.
Well, what about?
Why is it not good?
Because why is it not good? Let's go use all brown. But when you see some brown stuff floating in here, you're like, I ain't getting that bottle. You reach and get the next bottle, right? Still the wrong choice. Okay. See, all of it has oxygen. So just by this oxygen, and they don't seal it in nitrogen and eliminate this oxygen, then all the while it's sitting on the shelf. How long is it sitting? Who knows? Because they leave it on there for years.
They normally put a date on it. It's good into a certain year.
Yeah, and then they take a little, what's that, nail polish remover and wipe it out and change it.
Oh, no.
That's in the neighborhood store. Kids that don't sell. Food pantry. Okay. Okay. And so what happens is this. When it's sitting there, it's turning rancid. It's causing free radicals. That causes you to age. You see my wife, how she looks at 50? Just think I see her look at 100. Just cute.
Yeah.
Come on now. Come on now. I may have to chase you a little bit in my wheelchair. Okay. No, I'm just kidding.
Don't say that.
I'm just talking.
Don't think that.
No, I'm just being silly. Just being silly.
I know it.
But then what happens is this. It's already free radical damage in the bottle. Then when you pour it in the food, the Scandinavian descendants of the United States live the longest without supplementation. Eating all the gluten, just that one thing, frying. I mean, in the South, they fry water, don't they? With the frog. See, she knows. Yeah, my coworker, she knows. She said, how deep down in Arkansas, huh? How they cook everything. Fried. Eggs fried with oil, just fried everything.
So lard, so what is Crisco? That's not lard?
No, that's vegetable. That's how, that's what they sell it back in the day, so they had to demonize what everyone was using.
So what do you, I ain't never seen lard.
Because everyone was using the right thing at first, but they had to make it seem wrong so that they could market it. Yes, Pauline.
number one is air frying your food. Is that okay? Your food.
Okay, now.
Everybody's going to air fry. I need to know.
Now to be honest, the grill is sitting above the pan, and so I'm like, I just still stick everything in the oven. What I do is if I take potatoes, I'll melt the butter, and as I cut them up, I'll just kind of mix the butter around and coat it with butter. Instead of buying it in the store with shortening on it, with oil on the fries in the package, I'll just do it like that. And then I'll put it on the grill. And either I'll bake it with the grill where it's not touching, it treats it the same as an air fryer, but I'm just in the oven. Well, I don't know the technology, if it's any kind of microwave. I don't know the technology, if it's doing something. That's why I don't fool with it. Or I put it on broil, and it does the same thing. And then I get the same result without the bad stuff. And that's how I treat my food that I would air fry. I just do it the old way on the grill pan. You know, no food is sitting on the pan. And my wife do chicken wings like that. Oh, Lord. And they come out like they fried, but they on the grill pan in the oven, and they're so good. They're so good. That's a hint. Okay.
So olive oil is not bad in itself, but the process to go through oxidizing, we just took a straightforward olive oil without all of the oxidation.
Olive oil is bad to consume. It's not bad to pray for me with. You might need to pray for me after the presentation. But to anoint with oil.
Unoxidized olive oil.
Well, the problem is the oil is sitting in the bottle with air in it, so it's already oxidizing before you buy it.
What if the bottle is dark? Like
I'm going to bring that out too.
they normally, those are clear bottles, but when
Right,
they're darker
like a
bottles,
dark one.
and that blocks it from the sun and all that kind of stuff.
No. See, what's done in the darkness will be brought to the light. Because see, the reason why they darken it so you can't see how bad it is.
Nah, that's one way to look at it.
Because they darken it for marketing. It's no different. It's dark with oxygen in it.
How's it
Okay.
getting oxygen?
Because it's sitting there and you can see it. That's oxygen. All that air right there, that's oxygen that's causing it to go bad.
It isn't vacuum then, we're saying.
Right.
If they have
Even if it's vacuum, but it's still got oxygen in there. Now, see, the thing is, if they sealed it, now some progressive companies, I don't know which ones, but I've heard some progressive companies are sealing it, I guess, with nitrogen, so there's no oxygen in there. But guess what? You're gonna pay 10 times more for it, and when you pour it in a pan and heat it up, you still lose it. It instantly turns to free radical cancer aging material.
So the chemical process of the heating changes the nature of the oil.
Kills everything you're doing.
So
So if you go to Olive Garden and you get this on your salad, it's already got free radicals. And then if they fix some product with the oil in it, then you got super free radicals. And so then you're saying, why am I feeling older?
So what?
It was only 2 weeks.
So what should a person use?
Butter, lard is what we use.
I'm talking about on your salad.
Oh, on a salad, what I do is this. I use lemon juice or real lemon, concentrated lemon, or I squeeze a lemon on there and salt and pepper. It is very good. And you can also put a little bit of apple cider vinegar on there if you want. And
Okay.
it's really good. I mean, my daughter, now they don't prefer it that way, but how good is it? Just tell them.
It's good.
You gotta speak louder than that. Get it on the camera.
It is good. Yeah, a little lemon or a little salt and pepper, or sometimes I may just do a little salt and pepper by itself, so it's really good. And you can also make your own dressing. So they have things in the store that you can purchase. You just make sure it doesn't have any wheat in it and don't have any oil.
Yeah, and in some stores now, in health food stores, they got salad dressing that's oil free. But what I do is, I just put my own concoction together, and I just use lemon juice and salt, and then sometimes I use a little apple cider vinegar. Yes.
Okay, surprisingly so, because when I had a salad and you demonstrated with the lemon, I was like, but it was good. I was surprised. It was with the lemon juice and.
Okay, and I need a testimony from you because no. Taking her, you think going into stuff. And it's like we've heard testimonies about your dad. You want to come up here and give a testimony out to because I gotta get you on camera again. Lord have mercy. When you talk and they see you, I might sell out.
Well, my dad started taking the product. He actually had purchased it, and I went to see him, and he had it up in the closet. I'm like, Dad, you need to be taking it. So we have been talking to him more about the products. He started taking it, and he's just doing so much better. He's feeling so much better. So the products has really helped. And so even my daughter, I'm gonna give her testimony too. She had amblyopia and lazy eye. So we called it just in time. She could have went blind, but of course she did go to the pastor on her own and ask for prayer. And of course, you know God does wonders. And she had took the product. We hadn't been taking the product that long at all. And I think we were just giving them the ultimate classic at that time.
Cherry minerals.
Cherry minerals. So she was doing the cherry minerals, and they made an appointment for her at the hospital, and they went and they looked, and she was looking so long at her eyes. I was like, oh my goodness. And she came back. She was like, so why are you here? And so I told her about, and started taking the nutrition. I didn't have the pain in my shoulder any longer. You know, I'm getting older, so I take the nutritions. You know, and it's like I feel good. You know, so they're really working for us. You know, and then my children, you know, they had poison oak. So poison oak triggered eczema in them, and that's gluten. And so every time they eat a little bit of gluten, I can tell, because they would, you know, break out in certain areas. So we really do need to go gluten-free, because that gluten causes so many illnesses. And as soon as you eat it, you can tell. So by us being gluten-free, I love dinner rolls and different types of things like that. We'll go out and eat some rolls. You'll be sick within a half an hour if you're gluten-free. As soon as you take it, you'll feel the difference. That's why we say if you go gluten-free 30 days, you know, and then eat something gluten, you'll be able to tell the difference. But the product is good. You do need 90 nutrients, so 90.
I talked to the pastor because I was inviting him here. He said Saturday he does his client work, whatever he does. He said, but he had lupus. He had lupus. And so he's only been taking the product a few weeks, maybe. And so I asked him out of curiosity, I said, well, how's it working on a scale from 1 to 10? And he said, well, 4 days taking it. I said, an 8. So what does that translate to, the mathematical people? 80%. That's 80% better. Suffering with lupus, didn't know me, got introduced over a 3-way call. Believe what I shared with him, a 2-3 minute YouTube clip of lupus, of what we can do. Went ahead and did the diet. Was one of them obedient people. Went ahead and did the diet, and in 4 days, lupus is just about gone. Now that's how important the diet is, along with the 90 for life. Well, see, if you don't do that, you can live better, but you'll still be struggling. It's like the difference, if you have one thing I do, I chainsaw wood. Okay. I used to buy the cheap saws, Lowe's. I could have 3 Poland saws. Don't get mad at me. Nobody sue me from Poland now.
Not good.
I ain't got that for you. I gotta give you a saw back. But I end up getting a steel saw.
Yeah.
A real good one. And that one steel saw was like better than 3 Poland saws because of the power, you know. But one thing I learned about the steel saw, you put an oil in one side, and then you put an oil and gas mix in the fuel side. But the level of gas that you mix with the oil gas mixture makes all the difference. If you put regular or mid gas, it's not going to work right. But if you put the best gas that you can, the one that costs the most at the high end of the gas pump, you mix that with the oil, zoom! I mean, it starts, and I mean, it just, well, guess what? That's what happens when you don't eat the gluten and deal with obeying the diet, and you get in 90 nutrients. You will operate at optimal levels.